Hey, it's me, unapologetically T, and today is today. I guess like it really doesn't matter when you see this. Is when you see it is when you're meant to see it, cause time is perception, and so it really doesn't matter what today is. But it is after Christmas, and today is far as some point in time, it is my deceased brother who I've been transparent about. He overdosed and the years, the time, all that stuff he'd overdosed, it's probably been about what, 2 or 3 years. I think maybe three, um if that. But yeah, times has been a little weird for me. That's what I get for not being present all the time. So literally it is his birthday today, and it's also someone who was definitely like many roles in my life as far as matriarch. So I literally call her a sister, but we called each other cousins because we definitely was related somewhere down the bloodline. We shared the same last name and stuff like that, but she was more like a sister and sometimes even like a mom to me. So she played many roles in my life. So she was multifaceted that way, and she touched so many other people's lives. And she just was a safe space that I could come to and talk about anything, like, and I mean anything. So it was her birthday also today, and her and my brother literally passed a year and a day apart. She passed from brain cancer, and that was fucking tremendously hard because she definitely reached out for me to be there for her, and what I had going on at the time, I did not have much of my presence to offer, but that broke my heart in its own right, and a lot of people that I ended up losing, like with my brother, which I have worked with this guild and all that stuff, so like it literally does not affect me the same way when they first passed away. But my brother have reached out to me the day he died, and I ignore him because he used to go through his little moments. um and he had struggled with drug addiction, so it wasn't his first time overdosing, and I had no idea he was going to overdose that day at all, period. But I definitely was aware that he had a substance abuse issue. I've been transparent that like I literally grew up around people with substance abuse issues, so people struggling with substance abuse issues, I do not look down on you. I literally have lots of empathy and compassion for you. But yeah, like he had reached out that day. Typically, like towards the end of our relationship, like had we had like recently, like it wasn't like maybe that year, like we had made up, and we had only got into one fucking dispute, and it was because of that bald headed bitch of a sister he has, because she's not my sister. I don't claim her. The shit she caused with the whole acting like, I had unalived her child when she decided to bring her ass to my front door after I told the bitch like I didn't want to be on the phone arguing and all that stuff. And so literally I found out this year that the plot had thickened, and like the plot had got real real thick, so it's other layers to that whole scheme of things, and it's a lot of jealousy and envy like deep rooted into why all of that stuff even started that I was unaware of. Like I didn't even know. I knew she was jealous, but I didn't know she was envious. Like I didn't know that her hate for me went that far. Um, like that admiration was twisted as a motherfucker. Like you wanted what I wanted, and I didn't even want what you thought I wanted. So like caused the whole rift between, and I ain't gonna even say she caused that. I felt like my brother kind of like sided with her, which that was his bit. When it happened, I told him like, man, you been a bitch for that. Like, why is you even getting in between this? Like, this between us, this between females. So like, I got mad at him off of principle, like not even that he just like chose a side, like. Cause it should have never been about choosing a side, like nigga, just stay out of that. Like literally, I'm the one You know, I won't even there a whole bunch, but like shit, I be there more than she is, and you should have just stayed out that one. But he didn't, and that shit did. It caused a rift in our relationship. Like there was nothing I wouldn't do for that man. Except I did put boundaries up because he had substance abuse issues. But like, I love my brother. Like me and him was like this. We didn't even have to say words. Like we just we knew. And yeah, that one took me for a shock. But you know, when people dealing with addiction and shit, like weird shit be happening. So you know, that is life. He's still my brother. We made up before he died. I forgave him for a part he played, and which was, you know, it was just more of I felt like he should have stayed the fuck out of that situation. So saying all of that, when we did make up, the relationship, the bond was still the same, but like we were trying to rebuild the physical relationship. And so when he called that day, I kind of chalked it up as he wanted something. And I don't know why I'm sharing this, but maybe, you know, there's another person in this world who lost a family member that they loved dearly and they missed their phone call before they passed away. And you missed their phone call maybe because you were used to them like calling to action you for something or needing something, and you decided that day like you couldn't deal with that shit. And like I had to wear that guilt for a little while. Like but I will say this, when my brother died, like he definitely was right here with me. As much as I tried to ignore it, I get emotional because like I wanted to deny that shit. Like I couldn't take that my brother was dead. Like my brother had died. Like that shit was tough. Sometimes we get attached to like people are just gonna be here and we take them for granted. And I think that was one of those situations where like hindsight, I wish, you know, I would have answered that phone call. However, such is life. If I was meant to answer that phone call, I would have answered it. Another sad part is that I always felt like he left a voice message, but I don't do voicemails. So like literally I don't do voicemails. So if you leave voicemails on my phone, like I do not check voicemails. And so much so like I still didn't even want to, if there was a possibility that he left a voicemail to tell me something before he left. For some reason I had like this block up. Like I think it's denial, right? Like I just didn't want to believe like he was gone. I didn't want to hear whatever message he left. Like I literally put this wall up, but that nigga was like, bitch, like you're not gonna just block this grief out. And had to deal with that. So, and I had to deal with not being there for my sister figure in life. Like she really wanted me to come up there. Like she used to say when I was young, like cuz I met her when I was real young. Like I was probably about, not real young, but like I was probably about like 11 or 12, and I met her through I don't like calling my family anymore. Like I have disowned just pretty much most of my family members have not made the cut in my life and will never be able to circle back. Literally they are dead to me. So long story short, she was my earthly sister's best friend. And I met her that way when I would spend my summers in DC, and just immediately loved her. And I just loved how smart she was and her conversations and her logic on a lot of stuff. Even her thoughts around religion and spirituality, like we clicked. We could talk politics. We could talk all that shit without getting mad at each other. She was not a Beyonce fan, and like she was like one of the only people that I would allow to say shit that I knew wasn't true. Like I'd just be like, you just feel how you feel. You're reading, you're reading the news on the internet about them. Like feel how you feel, but this is the truth. But we never had like spats when we would talk. So I really love that about our relationship. And one of the things that she would do by the time I got driving age, because she ended up moving from DC down south. So by the time I got driving age, she would always say that she needed me to come help and clean out her closet. And that was one of the things. We would never get the closet clean because we would just end up talking so much. And so we would only like I would end up coming back home with clothes. Like, that was us cleaning out the closet. Like, her giving me some of her shit. And her closet, granted, wasn't even that bad. So, like, and I started to realize, like, she didn't really want her closet cleaned out. She really wanted, that was her way. Because we hard-ass women. And that was her way of saying, like, I miss you. And, come down. Like, so that was one of the things she said to me when she was sick, and she was like, I just want you to come and help clean out my closet. And I get emotional for that because, like, I knew what that meant, and I was just so tired dealing with what I was dealing with. I had just, I was still going through the grief cycle of losing my brother, which losing my brother was one of those catalysts for, I knew I had to leave my relationship. Like, it was like, I am going to expire here if I don't get out. And so I was so drained and tired that, like, I had my own shit going on and I just couldn't come. So I wasn't able to see her until she was at a point where, like, she was there, but she wasn't as much as I would have wanted. And yeah, it's like that is something that, like, I have came to terms with. And even though I'm crying, like, if you've experienced death, you can still be at a point of understanding and healedness, but still emotionally, you've lost that physical part, that physical interaction to that person. So a lot of times when I think about her, I miss my safe space. I miss that beautiful spirit who is not so judging. I mean, was she a woman that judged, but she was not judgmental. She could judge the fuck out of a situation, and I'll just say maybe she wasn't judging. She could read the fuck out of a situation. She could read the fuck out of a person. And but she wasn't judgmental at all. And I literally could talk to her about anything. So happy birthday to them both. But yeah, like, I didn't even know I needed to cry when I started this video. I wanted to talk about, reflect on, grief and stuff. Like, I have been through so many death cycles. I have been surrounded around death since I was young. And so death is not anything new to me. I think by an early age, I had figured out what the fuck death was and why it existed, even though you don't need to know why and all that shit. But, like, I had figured out death, and typically I got through death pretty quickly than the average person, because I knew death was trying to do one or two things. It was either somebody's time to, like, it's period. It ain't even is either. It's someone's time to go regardless. And it's someone's time to go regardless. And in them leaving in this 3D vessel, them leaving in the grieving cycle typically is something for you to learn, figure out, something. It is something. So when people pass away that we love, not everybody gets that intense grieving cycle. Like, the grieving cycle I had with my deceased partner, like, was one of the most fucking intense grieving cycles I fucking ever had in my life. And I actually was told when I took this was weird. This was a child physical education course. So like anybody knows, I have a teaching background, and so when I went to college, we had to take stuff like that, and literally, I cannot complain about the classes I took. But literally in child psychology, I don't know this man. I don't remember his name, but his face, I can see him today. He was a tall, skinny white man. And he was very blunt and direct with stuff. But I remember him teaching me two things. He taught me that, which I already knew, but it's some relearning when you struggle with amnesia and you wake up and you're in college. And you like, what the fuck am I here for? And so I literally had to relearn what I already knew to be truths since I was little. And he was like, soon as we're born, we're dying. And simply because soon as we're born, those stem cells that are magical and keeping us, alive and regenerating, they tend to, have a lifespan. So you literally start to die as soon as you're born. So in utero, they're magically delicious. That's why they be taking people's placentas and in the hospitals, and they get you to sign your placenta to your child away. Like, it is not because they care and they want to discard that biohazard, safely, because it is not a biohazard to you and your family. They literally store your child's placenta for research purposes, and because those stem cells are in that placenta. So you will find that a lot of educated, and when I say educated, I do not mean formally. Sometimes I find formally educated people to be very ignorant, but when you will find educated people who most of the time are self-educated or experience educated or divinely connected, they will save those placentas. They may use it as compost to grow a plant or a tree. They may cook it and eat it. Some have eat it raw. Some will leave it attached to the baby until it naturally, like the umbilical cord, naturally falls off. Some will do that with herbs and stuff like that. So a lot of ancient cultures and knew the powers of the placenta. However, the hospitals know it too, and so what they do is get you to sign over your rights, which I learned and studied when I got pregnant and had a child. Because I was like, well, why do y'all want my child's placenta, and why am I fucking signing a contract to give you my child's placenta? Found it very odd. So, and I'm just that type of person. I see and watch everything, mostly everything. Whatever I don't catch, something else is going to catch it. So yeah, I went on this tangent, but whoever needed to hear that. But the second thing he taught me was to lose. He asked us, which one do you think it'll hurt most? And mind you, I was definitely like fully pregnant at this point. I'm sitting in class fully pregnant. So, literally, he said, when a loved one dies, which one do you think it'll hurt most? Is it your spouse, your child, or your parents? And for me, I said your child. And I said that with my chest. And he was like, wrong. And that's how he was. Like, he was just like in your face, like, wrong. My kind of teacher. And then I'm just like, why though? Like, because I'm sitting here like, this thing that's in my belly, I care about it more than any fucking thing. But then he made such a valid point, even with me being a single parent. The point he made, I never forgot that shit. And I dreaded the day that I would experience the type of loss he described. And I don't even feel like I solely experienced that this go around. However, I experienced a big percent of that. But what he said was, to lose your spouse was far more detrimental than to lose your parent. And he said, your parent is the natural order of things for your parent to go. Yes, it hurts. It will hurt. But your parent is supposed to go before you. You are supposed to feel that pain. To lose a child is next. To lose a child is very fucking painful. that can cause so many different, feelings and emotions and so many different types of grieving cycles. But then he said to lose your spouse and you are, he didn't say dependent. He was like, your spouse and you literally are like a partnership and a team. Yes, your kids need you to survive when they're young. And he was like, your parents have already raised you. With you and your spouse, y'all share responsibilities, y'all help each other out, y'all are like, teammates. And when you lose your teammate, it is very fucking hard and painful. And he kind of explained it. He did a way better job than what I just did, but he kind of explained it in those layers. So he was like, to lose your spouse is going to be the worst pain you ever experienced. And I have lost children that I did not birth, and that was very fucking painful, but I had never experienced a loss like the loss I had being with someone for 11 years. Literally, we definitely, that's why I said I definitely feel like if I had a more healthier relationship, like, that scares the fuck out of me because I would not know what to do. Because this was hard when we had a up and down tumultuous relationship. So I can only imagine like the pain I experienced. Oh, that shit was rough. That was some whole next level shit. Then not only was I going through a grieving cycle, like I literally was dealing with motherfuckers around me who literally felt like they wanted me dead. It ain't even no feel like at this point. Like a lot of motherfuckers wanted me dead, and you know, it's so very. It was just such an eye-opening experience, but it was painful as fuck. Very very painful. Very painful. I had to experience advocating for myself while I was at this most vulnerable state that I've ever been in my whole and fucking entire life. I guess since I was a kid, it almost felt like I had been stripped of everything and being returned back to that innocent, defenseless little child that just like had to wake up and say, "Hey, look, I'm not taking no more of your shit. I can't take no more of your shit, and like you gotta go." And so, literally, just that just was a grievance cycle that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And for me in particular, what I had to learn from losing him was that he was not number one, he was not my most detrimental monster in my life. Matter of fact, me and him was more equally yoked than any of the the monsters I had to deal with in my life. So me and him were more equally yoked than them. A lot of the things that he did before the end, I just don't even count that to who he was or his true character. Like I felt like he was gone well before he got to the point where he passed away. So the person that he was deep down inside, like he was definitely more equally yoked to me than my abusers. And I think the whole purpose of me and him being together was to break our generational curses and dig deep and restore our fucking souls that people thought they had claims to and thought they were gonna take. Reveal some fucked up shit that was going on in our family so that it could stop going on in our family. A lot for me was my denial of what happened to me. Literally, I was walking around empathizing and trying to help others and heal others and be there for others and help others achieve their dreams, and literally distracted myself from my true pain and what had happened to me. Um, Whether a situation that someone was going through happened to me or not, I typically understood pain. So I just feel pain, and that's just is actually practical because that's a reality I lived in for a lot. So I can literally sniff that shit out on people. And sometimes I have to realize, like, boundaries. Like, some people don't want you to see that pain or feel that pain. So, but I literally was forced to deal with my own shit. And my coping mechanism is to not deal with my own shit. And that's how I've gotten by in life, is to not deal with my own shit, to stay busy. That's why I was a workaholic. That's why I was literally, into this and into that and stayed busy. And I definitely went through a point where, like, I had a burnout, and I couldn't function in work society like I once did, but I was still helping others. Anybody I came across, like, I'm that's just who I was. And then when I left the relationship, I still wasn't addressing what was wrong. I still was literally building for myself. Like, I was working in a regular, for me and my degrees, it was an entry level job. Like, I'm not gonna even fucking fake it or hide it. Like, I definitely could have had a higher position and title, but I literally just, started at an entry level, and which I loved, by the way. I love being able to actually work with the students. That's my thing. But literally did that. On the other end of things, when I would get off work, I literally was, working on my business, which that shit is still near and dear to my heart. I don't have the resources that I need to do it right now. However, God gave me that, and it's mine, and I'm gonna hold on to, when it's time, it's time. But that one is official. So I literally put a lot of time into it, as far as the foundations and the planning of it. um Next steps is stuff that I would need more assistance with, more people in that field, and money. Also, money talks. But literally work my ass off while at work, then would come home and try to do the entrepreneurship stuff. Then I did make a little fib. I would go to these groups for narcissistic abuse recovery, but I was still focused more on which makes sense. I was focused more on me and Dante's dynamic. I hadn't really began to, like, dig deep into why was I with Dante in the first place, which I knew parts of it. Like, I mean, I knew I grew up with addicts, so it wouldn't be, any big deal that I would sympathize with an addict. And so I was thinking it was more on those terms that I was with him. But once I started to dig deeper and realize just how far I pushed down true, real, abusive accounts, and it's so much more that I haven't even told. um I would like to write a book about it, and but there's so much more that I haven't told. Lots of abuse, lots and lots of abuse. um so it only makes sense that I would, choose someone like that. And I think I looked at him as he was protective, right? He kind of protected me from the fucked up family. And it's funny because I brought up my sister, I brought up the thing that came through my bloodline. I brought her up, and literally, I do not fuck with her. I do not fuck with her. I do not fuck with most of my family. Like, most of my family are dead to me. I have killed you off. Um and that is my own right. I get to choose who I want to be around and who I want to deal with, who I want to associate. Um I am accepting my chosen family, my soul family, my family. Like, I am accepting the good energy that I feel. That's what I'm accepting. But yeah, like that thing that came through the bloodline, literally, whew, literally, see, I don't even want to give her life. But literally, she waited till Dante was literally locked up and tried to play that shit. Like, she was gonna come to my door and intimidate me. She was gonna come to my door after I told her I ain't feel like arguing. I don't do that back and forth on the phone. Like, bitch, I'm not about to go back and forth with you on the phone. This is not motherfucking preschool. Like, bitch, I'm gonna want to hurt you. Like, I don't know why people play these games. Like, they see this innocent face and they see the nice acts, and I'm gonna say nice because they're ignorant as fuck. They see them ignorant ass acts out of kindness I be doing. Like, my kindness now comes with tough love. Like, my kindness now comes with tough love. If you are one of those people that need tough love with your kindness. Now, if you one of them people where you give kindness to, I'm kind of you. There is no shit that got to be attached to it. We cool. Because you know what to do with kindness. But for you people that don't know what to do with kindness, my kindness comes with tough love. And like arm distance. I'm gonna need arm distance. I was literally like the other day, that song, what was that song called? Do the Hasman on that hoe. Like, I used to love that song. Do the Hasman on that hoe. Like, that's how I feel like about a lot of people in my life now. Like, bitch, first of all, God not gonna even give you access to me. Unless he's setting you the fuck up. Like, unless God is setting you up is the only way you're gonna have access to me. And at this point, if you do, I'm gonna do the Heisman on your ass. If you are too close, if you get in my space, there's a warning. It's gonna be a soft, gentle nudge. Like, and then if you still play, like, if you still want to play, you still want to get too close. You want to get too close. Like, I've gave you my warning. Your ass gonna trip, fall on your face, get beat the fuck up, maybe. But yeah, I can't do it anymore. I can't do abuse no more. I done been through too much abuse. People need to leave me alone. People need to leave me alone that don't have good intentions. But I trust God anyway, so I know that people won't even have access to me unless it's God's plan. So, and that would be a plan that's not good for you. Like, but yeah, she waited till he was locked up and started playing like some monumental games. Like I said, she went crazy with it, and I think like in her head she thought like he was the protector in the sense of like he was the safety and security of like I can't handle shit on my own. But really, like when I say he was my protector, he made sure I didn't get in trouble because I'm crazy. Like, I'm crazy. So he was my protector in that sense too, bitch. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you think because I was nice and kind to you that you could play, you know, with me? But sometimes people gotta what? People gotta fuck around and find out. And she did. But I don't want to give no more life to that bald headed skeezer. So her gelled up, weaved up. And look, I'm not bald headed. I have a head full of hair. A head full of hair, which I just washed last night and actually took the time to moisturize and tied a little string around and tried to spruce it up a little bit. I just brushed it down. Just brushed it on down. But yeah, like I got short hair, but I ain't bald headed. That she look a little thin. And I don't even like talking about people, boy. Her, I would troll the fuck out of her. Her and her ugly ass sister. Like, I don't know why I'm being mean tonight, but I guess, held things in for so long. Might as well get the fuck out. Yeah, her sister look like the gremlin from the gremlin with the lipstick. No, they tried to bully me though. Like, they really tried to bully me and play on my phone and all kind of shit. And like, I literally, if I was a police ass bitch, like, I literally could have got them arrested and locked up. But you know who did try to get somebody arrested and locked up? They did. She tried to press charges against me for some crazy shit, like some shit I could have just, like, my whole life could have been ended. Like, my whole life could have been gone. My daughter could have not had a mom. Like, my daughter could have been seeing her mom behind bars. Like, she, like, really went there. And God don't like ugly. God knows everybody's heart. God knows I did not, I did not do you like you tried to do me. But I know she did. She went to the internet and did ask. Nah, she made a post saying that if she end up dead, it's her sisters, and it wasn't me. It wasn't that. I don't get people back with my own hands. All I'm gonna do is pray for your ass, but you don't want this prayer. You don't want this prayer. You don't want them ancestors coming to see you. You don't want them to see you in your dreams. You don't want them to come by and make some shit happen. You wondering why you got a flat tire and you pissed off and late to work. That's just the start. And I think that's what she started going through. And the sad part about it is I wasn't even praying for her. I was just like, when the bitch is gonna, like, because I already had my own shit going on. That was the craziest part of all. Like, I was going through my own, like, mental health shit, like, to the point where, like, I'm literally taking my niece to school. I'm taking Dante's daughter to school. I'm taking my daughter to school. We live on the other side of town, but I know that my daughter's school, is great because I done already vetted and she done been there since she started school. So, like, I was like, just because we live on the other side of town, I'm going to keep taking her to school. So, I was taking all three of them to school. All three of them went to different schools. It was on the same side of town, but there was different parts of the same side of town. So, my daughter was kind of like in the middle. His daughter was on this end, and my niece was at this end. And so, I'm already doing that when I'm struggling to get out of the bed, y'all. Like, I'm struggling to wash my ass. I am struggling to feed myself at this point. And you want to play with people. Like, that's why you shouldn't play with people. Like, you should not play with people, because I didn't even do no prayers for her. Like, I didn't, write her name down, put it in the Bible, put it on the altar. Like, I didn't do none of that shit. But God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly, and God don't like ugly, and he ain't too fond of cute. And for some reason she skipped the point that her soul is ugly and she thinks she's very cute. And I'm just here to tell her that, like, she gotta pay for what she did. Everybody gotta pay for what they've done, including even me. Like, mistakes I've made that have caused harm to anybody else, I have to pay for that. Like, I don't get to get off scot-free. Nobody gets to get off scot-free for fucking with people that didn't deserve it. Which I don't live my life by fucking with people that don't deserve it. I don't do that. Literally, I try to go out my way to be kind to motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck what tax bracket you in, what neighborhood you live in. I do not look down on people. I do not try to fuck with people that I think is down. That's some cowardice, weak ass shit. And that has been my grieving cycle, is to see just how fucked up the people is around me, that they would try to kick me while they think I'm down. Like, they thought I lost my mind. I knew I hadn't lost my mind completely. Like, it was lost, but I hadn't lost it completely. And the fact that you would still at that moment kick me while I'm down, try to bury me while I'm down, was my grievance cycle. It was my grievance cycle to endure that so that I would never forget that shit. It was my grievance cycle to see who was who again. See who was who. I was conditioned to love my abusers in the name of them being family, whether it was close family friends or it was real family members that came through the bloodline. However, I don't have any love or loyalty to nobody who is going to mistreat me, no matter who you are. This even go to my child, and we talk about this shit. Like, if you ever get to a point where you think you gonna destroy me, or you gonna purposely, intentfully try to bring me down once you're grown, like, I can deal with this little teenage shit. Like, I'm gonna give you to God, like, before I take you out. So, like, I'm gonna give you to God. Like, I'm gonna pray for you, and while you're a teenager, I'm gonna pray for you while you're an adult. But when you're an adult and you try to do that stupid shit, like, I can't do nothing for you. Like, I have learned the art of of detachment. Like, however, I know my child is protected, and I can't say that she won't do no fuck shit, but I can say that for some reason I don't worry about her. I worry about the motherfuckers that try to brainwash her because she is a child. But I do know that my child is more than competent to see people, because I didn't raise her completely off the same principles that I was raised off of. So she knows, she see people. She might drink some Kool-Aid sometimes, but don't we all? Um, but yeah, like, this grieving cycle was intense. Whew, you know, I think when you lose a person that you think you was gonna spend the rest of your life with, like, that shit ain't talked about enough. That shit is intense. That shit is hard. It's hard. Definitely, like, when it's embedded in trauma, like, cause now you're missing a person that y'all had some abuse going on in there, like, in our relationship. Like, that shit was like Kill Bill. That shit was like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, literally, seek and destroy. And it's like kill to be killed, and but literally had to get at the God too. So took the proper steps and channels to protect myself, and walked around each day. Literally, like, I don't talk about this a lot, but literally woke up every morning, careful about how I walked out the house. People make sure their doors are locked all the time anyway, so that's a thing. But, like, literally just had to be more hyper vigilant than what I've ever been used to, far as living. And so I would literally have a routine of every morning coming outside, checking underneath my car, and checking my surroundings in my parking lot. Like, when I would go out to my car for work for a lunch break, just checking the parking lot. Like, you've seen horror stories that, someone came to unalive their partner or their ex while they were at work, or while they're in a parking lot, like, just ready to crash out over the simplest things. Of, if I can't have you, no one can. And like I said, in the end, I never associated that behavior with him. In the end, the reason I left was because I felt like he was no longer there anymore. And that was just how I felt. I do know once he did pass away, so many of the people I guess he dealt with, like, definitely did find a way to reach out. Whether they were in other people, like, I don't care what you think. I know that my grieving cycle and my life and my reality is real. But, like, I met so many strangers that, like, I just knew was sent by him, or someone that cared about me and knew that I was struggling or hurting about I guess what our relationship meant, whether it was, real love there, or, like, because at the end it was just so volatile. And I would always get reminded, whether it was by people he was with in the end, that that like he loved me and he would always talk highly of me and all that shit. So but I'm pretty sure it was some people that definitely his family, some of his family members, and they probably ate that shit up. But I don't care. I know who I am. I've been clear and transparent on here. Like, I've only slept with one other person while me and him were together, and we were broken up because that nigga was just, he was draining me dry, literally. So we had to break up, and yeah, I did sleep with one other person out of 11 years together. I slept with one person and we were broken up. But during that rest of that relationship, like, that nigga was wailing. Like, he was the one cheating. And I mean, he was cheating. It got to the point where, like, I just didn't even give a fuck. Like, this nigga tried to even, like, make me mad by getting dressed and going on a date. I think I did do a video about that. Like, he got dressed and, you know, he was doing all this shit. And, like, my mind mentally, like, I'm like, you for the streets anyway. Like, I don't give two fucks. Like, I didn't even put two and two together. He was going out. Like, I just thought, you know, you was going with the homies. Like, cause I just checked out. I didn't give a fuck. And I think that's where men need to realize, like, women, before they leave you, y'all be thinking like it's the worst thing for a woman to leave you and cheat. No, not leave you and cheat. It's the worst thing for a woman to be with you and cheat. At least that bitch, she's still committed with you, like, because like she's still there and she cheating. She's just like you. Like, she wants her cake and eat it too. When a bitch leave you and she checks out before she leaves you and there is no other nigga that she's creeping with, you're done, sir. You need to go listen to R. Kelly's When a Woman's Fed Up. I know, you know, R. Kelly definitely is a pedophile in his own right. And them parents was selling their kids and nobody wants to talk about that. Um they're all wrong. But so, like, we need to have a conversation, just like I see right now in the news about the 13-year-old who got raped at a grown-up party. And I'm just trying to figure out where her parents was at. And then I think I heard, I don't know if it's true, but her dad said it never happened and he never got a call about her being, I think she had said she had to go to like a gas station or something to call her dad. I don't know. I just heard that. I didn't actually see that on the news for myself, but I heard that. I was like, when I first heard it anyway, I was like, where was the parents? But I do know, as an abused person, you know, where is the parents doesn't fucking matter. But I didn't say it that as if it didn't happen. What I was asking was, where was the parents? Because the parents are just as much as in fault as if, because that's alleged, um, if that situation did happen. That's why I asked where the parent was, not to question her validity. But I'm being called to stay out of that conversation and let God handle that, because God sees all. And it does smell a little fishy, but you know, with me being my own, having my own situations of not being believed, I always say let that shit play out. Don't pass judgment too early, you know. And just pray that justice prevails, no matter what it look like, as long as justice prevails. So and I don't mean the justice of this court system. I definitely don't have faith in that. um well, yeah, I have faith in God. You know, God sees all. And even though these systems were created in all God's plan, I definitely still say that God sees all. So, yeah, I don't know why I was called to even bring that up, but I did. And so, like I said, I'm not taking no sides on that. I just sometimes can smell a rat. However, like, not in the rat and the kind of like the snitching kind. I smell foul play, and that does not mean that that's true. That does not mean that I want to have a witch hunt on a possible victim. So no, I don't. I don't want my opinions and views on that situation to be nothing but I had a thought that came up, and that's that. Because I know what it is to not be believed, but I will say if it did happen, then her parents need to be prosecuted just as much as the people she is accusing. So, my grievance cycle is a lot of just outing people in my own right. I do not want to. I did not want to go the legal route. All this happened such a long time ago, and I believe in God's justice, and I do know that the things that were done to me back then and all the way leading up to now by people that were supposed to protect me, you literally are going to get what you deserve. Uh, so I do not even care about, the legal aspect of it. I don't want anything from them far as monetary compensation. However, I do feel like there are abuse victims who would rather have monetary compensation than to have legal compensation. Um, it all depends on what the victim wants. For me, I want y'all to stay the fuck away from me and for God to give you what you deserve. Um, and that's that. I do have one last piece of, you know, being with an abuser, but mentally I have addressed that, and physically, everything will catch up in 3D realm. But yeah, I still currently stay in the same house as my abuser. Oddly enough, I have learned to navigate this situation. I feel like the truth will set you free, and it was like once I got out my full truth, she couldn't hurt me anymore. She could not affect me anymore. It just made me realize like I'm not a little kid. I can protect myself now. And so I since I've been here, like I think she gave me like a grace period of like 2 months of not having to pay anything once I came back, but I paid to stay. So literally, this is a stepping stone to get to where where I need to be next. And once I do that, like, I'm never looking back. I will never deal with my abusers again. And that's just what it is. Like, I can't do it. I don't care if you're my mom. I don't care if you, whatever those titles are. Like, if you couldn't live up to them, then, like, you don't deserve my presence. So that's just where I'm at. I just feel like this last year has been so raw. So me coming back to myself, but a better version of myself. And I always say coming back to myself because there was so many points as a child that I had certain insight and knowledge, like most people would look at, like, well beyond my time or my years. And then there was still social stuff I needed to learn. I was like crazy awkward socially, still kind of is, but I've adapted and learned to fit in with society. I think that's one thing that no one talks about enough, and I have seen a video on it, is how people who struggle with autism, literally that has learned to adapt and fit into societal norms, masking, how exhausting and draining it is for us to act like we're the part, and we're not. It's like literally I'm just not. I've never been. And I hate acting like, I'm this one way all the time. Like, I'm never one way all the time. Like, I am so multi-dimensional and multifaceted, faceted, and I love it. I am so bored with being stagnant or one way. Like, I do not. Like, there's some people where they need that structure. Like, I brush my teeth at the same time every day. I eat breakfast at the same time. I'm not like that. Like, I literally, um, I need structure, but it's like organized chaos. Like, that's the structure I survive on. Like, I have to have some type of structure, but it's organized chaos. Um, I thrive off that. Like, I thrive off organized chaos. I feel like if I am too like strict, that causes like a whole clusterfuck of like tantrum and meltdown when things don't go my way. And if I'm too lackadaisical, I'm almost like, okay, what's next? Like, I'm kind of bored. Like, so I get bored on both extremes. But like, my middle ground and my piece is like, when I have some planning, or some structure in it, but like the rest is left to be flexible in it, or I don't know how to put it. Like, it's just room to bounce back. It's not rigid. It's not rigid and it's not too loose. It's like that bitch Goldilocks, even though she shouldn't have been in them bears' houses. Nobody want to talk about that. But yeah, this grieving cycle has been about me. And if you've had a lot of death around you, you know that like sometimes the grieving cycle ain't for you. Sometimes the grieving cycle is for you, and it's different each time, different person. This one was about it was about me. Like, it was about me. And I think that's why it hurt the fucking way it did. It hurt the way it did because it was about me facing me. It was me versus me. But me versus me, while other fucking people were trying to kill me, take me out, take me down. Like, it was literally a battle against myself. But I definitely tried to avoid it, and I tried to save others in between instead of just saying fuck them and save myself. But once I realized it was time for me to focus on me, I think like things started to click better. And even now, like every day is like, I have to remind myself, like I talk to God and I be like, what should I be doing today? And God be like, you should be focusing on yourself and loving yourself. Like that is your, whatever that looks like to you, that is your goal for today. That's where I'm at in life. I'm at that space in life. I do have goals. I do have aspirations. I don't think I would ever be a person who doesn't. That's just how I'm wired. I am wired to be a part of the plan. So I am a creative. So I am creating whether I post videos or not. I'm literally writing poems. I did go through this little moment where I did not feel like writing, but even today, I did not feel like writing, but I felt called to write. But I think I want to take a break from writing for a couple of days, or more, and draw. Like, just do some other stuff and draw. I want to work on some projects that I have in my head that I need to get out, that I've been holding there. And typically, if they get held and they don't disappear, then that means that that's something that God wants me to create. So I need to stop bull crapping and procrastinating and get to it. Once again, if you're watching this and you contributed to Charlotte and our journey to Texas, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the people who contributed after Texas. Literally, your money still went to a great cause. So I'm just grateful. I plan on traveling more. That was so helpful. That was so good for the soul. I feel like the trip to Texas definitely allowed me to be in the same space with just me and my child, no other influences, and us just bond and kick the shit like we used to. I have always been a pretty open parent with her since she was little. I felt like her brain was like mine and she could handle it. But we've been through a lot over the years, so definitely was trying to return to rebuild and establish a new bond. She's not a little kid anymore. She's a teenager now, so we had to have fun, talk shit with each other, let her know when, too far is too far. I got to experience that too for Thanksgiving when I went to have Thanksgiving with my soul family, which I hadn't seen them since I was like pretty. I mean, I've seen some of them throughout the years, but it wasn't like how we used to be. So I literally hadn't spent that type of intimacy or intimate time with them since I was like a teenager, or young teenager. So literally that helped because it was like I could really see like me and her gotta get our shit together. Like literally gotta get our shit together, and we're more than worth it. So and it's literally, I gotta get my shit together before I can help her get her shit together. And it's like now, we can do team effort shit. So that was definitely beautiful for the both of us. And then that just whole trip, like I said, was definitely, it allowed me to come back to myself fully too, in so many different ways. So yeah, thank you so much for those who had it on their heart to donate. Thank you for those who prayed for us because you wanted to donate and you couldn't, and I don't care your reason why you couldn't. And I won't even mention the people anymore that thought they did something. But literally had a ball. It allowed me to realize how much, I had already began to see how much like I love traveling. Like I've loved traveling since I was a kid, and I literally travel all the time in my head. So it's only right that I get to do it in the 3D. I know that there are so many places in this world, probably places that man haven't even touched yet. So I would just love to see some natural wonders that I have not got to see in person. Some that maybe I stumble upon because I'm an explorer. But I don't want to go too far. I'm not like what's that guy name? I was about to say Crocodile Dundee, but what's that nigga name that be in them goddamn tombs and shit? I forgot his name. I love them movies. Shit. I forgot. All I know is he be going in them tombs and them ancient places and be trying to steal relics for the museum. But like that's a white man for you. But I used to love the movies. But when you think about it, like that shit was wrong. Like why are you going in these places? Like leave that shit alone. Like Indiana Jones. There it goes. Like I used to love it because of the adventure and the action in it, but the thoughts of it was like, can you leave these people stuff alone? That's why these booby traps are here. Like you are not supposed to be here, sir. So even if somebody else trying to steal this shit too, like let them die. You go ahead, But that's the white man's burden. So yeah, I don't want to go that far in exploration. I just want to go where my ancestors say I could go. God say I can go, and I love it. I don't know. I be trying to do more videos to show more transparency of this whole healing journey. As you can see in this one video, like I went from crying to, just here. That's life. Like that's been this grieving cycle. Like it's like, you cry now, you laugh later, and that's just happy. Just happy. But I will be doing a recap of 2024 far as my grows and glows. Literally we'll be doing that for this what is it Gregoric calendar? So the Gregoric calendar celebrates New Year's in January the 1st, on January the 1st, but in all practicality, like literally you would start the new year when actual life begins, which would be spring. That makes a lot of sense, right? Like winter equals death and spring equals life. Like it's just, you know, that's just how I go. But you know, I'll celebrate it twice. I'll celebrate it, with grows and glows. I don't want to make any New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna just keep going off this prayer business, um, this meditation business, this staying connected with self, and knowing that we are in a collective, and like we're all working. Not all of us, but most of us are all working for the greater good, and we gotta keep hope alive. That well, we ain't gotta keep hope alive because it ain't up to you anyway. So the Debbie Downers, you got a job to do too. But for my people that no change is not coming, change is here. Stay grounded, stay focused. But change is here, and I say stay grounded. When you need to be grounded, when you need to do whatever you got to do, do that too. But always come back to self. But change is here. There is nothing no one can do to change that, to sway that. It is what it is. And that's that. Like, I'm gonna end there.